What's up? What's up? Me with Griff Jenkins from Fox News. He said he would take Raise Up Old Glory to Sean Hannity. Let's all hope he does. What is wrong with Bertrude? H-A-N-A-T-Y. Sean Hannity. Tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. That's right, you chat, can call in to David Nino Rodriguez's live stream and ask any question you want. You guys be thinking some good ones. I've been watching a new show kind of in the backgrounds. I guess it's Apple TV came up with it. It's called Severance. Have you guys seen that show? Pretty crazy. It's basically like you can separate your like work person, your work mind and your personal mind, and you don't have any memories from the other to the other one or whatever. It's crazy. It's kind of like a Neuralink thing, like Elon Musk would do. It's a crazy show. You guys want me to do a review on it, like the like the Hillbilly Elegy? That's pretty good timing. I like it when he ends with the music, but it ended during the gap, right? That still counts.
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome everybody. I'm Will Bird. This is Cold Beer Confessional. Thank you for joining us. You want to support the show? Do that at coldbeer.fund, coldbeer.fund. That is right. Tomorrow, I'll be asleep. Okay? So if you do this, record it. But tomorrow, for one day only, because I'm sure this is not going to end well. Okay? Tomorrow morning, I'll be taking call-ins for my morning show. Any question goes as long as you keep it clean. I'll see you tomorrow morning, March 28th. Friday, 9:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Times on my YouTube channel at Nino's Corner. Just saying, if you guys want to call in, that's the way you do it. If you want to get a question directly to Nino, that's how you do it. Nino, me and Nino have a history where he melts down and I laugh, basically. Let's see if we can get one of these to play. Fucking Nino. What an idiot, dude. So basically, he was a boxer. He tried to be an actor. He failed at both. Then he tried to come out and expose Hollywood for being into pedophilia or some shit. It was weird. That didn't work. But that spawned him into a big enough QAnon star to start this. And since that day, he's just been a grifter, right? He does the MLMs. He has Juanito, who he calls Poppy. He has Juanito 107 on his show. And he's a grifter. I don't know what to say. A gigantic piece of shit. He tries to sell his book. He tries to sell his mom's book. He just tries everything. Why is there no... Wait a second. That was weird.
Can't let it go.
All right, now it's got audio.
Folks, I want to address something real quick. It's bothering me. I can't get out of it. I can't just say, I'm going to let this go. Can't let it go. I've been attacked, spiritually attacked recently. And
Spiritually attacked.
Been picking up really with me on all fronts.
Okay. I wonder who he's talking about.
I'm trying to do a good thing by helping fellow patriots, and a business that I'm involved in has been attacked, maliciously attacked.
Oh, my God.
And whoever this person is, I don't even know who it is. One of the guys I saw, and I'm just looks like he blows the guy in the back parking lot from glamour shots. I mean, it's just fucking, it's unreal. Anyway, I'm doing my best as a patriot.
This is when I called him out for running an MLM, right? Like, you're the only person that's going to make money. You're not creating patriot jobs, right? You're putting patriots in debt.
And not everybody's perfect, folks. The people that are doing this business with me do not have to live in fear of this or these. And that's the best I can do right now. Until something better comes along, it's the best I can do right now. And I'm proud of it.
Over 96%. Over 96% of people who will never recoup their initial investments.
We've created a lot of jobs. People don't have to live in fear. They can live in peace. That's a big one. And they're making money. So I'm walking the walk. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Nino's a hero. That's what he's doing for the country. MLMs. What have I done? I'm just some loser who blows dudes at glamour shots.
So I'm walking the walk. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing except tearing people down, you fucking coward?
Oh, he got me there. The unsteady breathing. Oh, that's so you could call in and ask Nino what new hero actions he's been taking lately to make him one of America's greatest heroes. Honestly, right? I don't want to take anything away from the man. He's serving his country by getting you to join an MLM. That's what the whole rant was about. He joined that MLM, the Patriot Shop MLM, and I called him out on it for signing people up for an MLM, and that was his retort. That was it. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us. I got a story real quick. I'm not going to be on here long. I got a headache, which kind of relates to the story. My son tried to kill me. My own child from my own loins tried to kill me. I don't know if we're going to press charges or not, but we're looking into it, okay? So here's the story. I stay up all fucking night, right? I don't sleep at night, and then when I do sleep, I usually fall asleep and wake up a few hours later, whatever. So I was asleep while Mariah gets up, gets the kids ready for school, and takes them to school. So I was asleep in the bed. The kids are getting ready for school, and Mariah packs their lunches and sets their lunches on top of the stove. Now, the stove is a propane stove. It's a camper stove, right? Propane. So, like, you have to turn the propane on, and then you have to hit, like, a little igniter thing, right? And the little igniter button shoots a spark, and it lights it up. And if it doesn't light, you turn it off for a minute, let it clear out, and then light it again, like a regular gas stove. So when Liam goes to get his lunchbox, now I'm dead the fuck asleep, right? I had probably just fallen asleep a couple hours before that. When Liam goes to get his lunchbox off the top of the stove, there's like a cover that goes over the stove, and we set shit on it all the time. His strap gets hooked on the gas knob, and he just pulls it, and it turns the gas to wide the fuck open and does not ignite the gas. So just propane is filling up our home while I'm asleep. They leave, and Mariah takes them to school. And thank God she came back right away. Because it was already to the point to where, like, the level of propane that I have, like, absorbed, like, I couldn't even smell it anymore. Like, she said it was so strong she couldn't stand it inside, like opening windows and shit when she came back. But I couldn't even smell it. Like, I had just become numb to it. We have like fire or carbon monoxide detectors, but apparently they didn't pick it up. But if Mariah would have had like a doctor's appointment or something to go to, or would have like went to the neighbor's house and hung out or something, like I would have just died. I would have just never woke up again. That would have been it. Out of here, dude. That would have been the end of us. And that's my harrowing tale of how I survived the propane leak of 2025. I ran to the bedroom afraid William was no longer alive. It was terrible. I got an instant headache, and it took hours for the smell. Even like after Mariah cleared it all out and shit, she was afraid to go back to sleep, that she would die. And that was after she like opened windows and doors and turned it off and shit. But somehow we survived. So chalk that one up to the record books, I guess. I don't know what to say. There you go. I made it. I pulled through. I would say I have a headache, but I basically always have a headache, so who knows? Who knows? That's probably all together. And then the other thing that I wanted to share with you is Phil Godlewski coming out of retirement. I know you hate to see it. A coveted national treasure like Phil Godlewski. But eventually, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? To protect the country. It's part of it. It's part of it. So as much as he would like to continue doing his live streams that he hasn't done in months and months and months and months and months and months and months, and he keeps canceling them, canceling, and suing people for millions of dollars while he racks in millions of dollars a year, he had to go back to work, okay? He had to pull out his super spy outfit again. Had to get a security clearance again that he's never had, that he admitted he never had, and go back to work for the NSA. What can I say? He's Edward Snowden. Let's see if we can put this back over here. This motherfucker will lie about anything, dude. Oh, shit. My bad.
So, unbeknownst to most of the world, something very bad almost happened last night. I can't give too much information on the details of it, but it would have been really bad. Luckily.
By the way, he's already admitted in court under oath that he's never worked for a government agency, that he's never contracted for a government agency, that he's never held any type of security clearance, that he was never part of any intelligence group or whatever. His only claim he actually made was that he made 9/11 DVDs on his own with some other guys he met on the internet or some shit, like Alex Jones.
The powers that be scrambled together and got some unlisted contacts together, and the bad thing was prevented from happening, at least for now.
For now.
Well, might as well just tell you, for the first time in over 20 years now. Wow, it feels weird saying that. 20 years.
Over 20 years, he's been pretending to be Edward Snowden.
For the first time in over...
This is the same guy that'll tell you that he's Edward Snowden, and the actual Edward Snowden is an actor that the government hired to play him so he doesn't get in trouble.
20 years, I've accepted a temporary position. And when I say temporary, it's very temporary.
What's crazy is the links that this motherfucker will go to. The links that he will go to fucking miss a show. Just tell people you're taking the month off. Lots of streamers do it. Like, they'll have a whole month they block out. But he's getting so much backlash in his chat from like, oh, something come up. It's not my fault. They called me and told me not to do a show. He's getting so much backlash that he's like, I got to go back to work at the NSA for President Trump.
Like a 30-day thing. And I didn't even want to do that. But knowing that the gravity of what was upon us, I had to do what I could, and in order to do what I could, I needed access to certain levels of information and documentation, and the only way to get that stuff was to do what I did. So I didn't sleep much. I'm sure you could tell by looking at my face. I didn't sleep much last night.
It just looks like you've been crying.
I don't intend on sleeping much tonight either. My son has a baseball game right now that I'm going to. And then after that, I have to get back to it. It was probably the scariest night of my life for a number of reasons.
Terrifying.
And just so we're clear, even though I can't release details about what happened last night or almost happened, I could tell you what it wasn't. It was not the cabal. It had nothing to do with
oh, thank God.
the deep state or any of that. It appears that those days are, I don't want to say behind us, but there's almost no resistance on the cabal's part right now. Trump's in office. Trump is just laying people out left and right, from countries to governments to domestic threats, even our own Congress people. Look at what Schumer did, so it's great to be in the position that we're in and to have Trump doing all of those things for us. But it's sombering to realize that the fight isn't over.
Okay.
There's just a different enemy, a different type of enemy. And myself and a few, well, when I say a few, it's probably more like a few hundred.
A few hundred?
Former dedicated patriots.
Oh. All coming out of retirement.
In this brief stage here. So, I don't know how long this is going to last. If too many nights are like last night, then I don't know how I'm going to do it. But I have to unfortunately cancel lives for right now. And I'm only thinking for like maybe until next week. But tonight, tomorrow, and the weekend are going to be crucial to what happens next. So the next few days of my life are going to be packed with stuff. I could barely keep my eyes open right now. Like I'm just so tired. And I know it's for the greater good, and I get that. But
he's also afraid. He's afraid that just like he knew about 9/11 ahead of time and didn't get to warn anybody, he's going to find something else like 9/11, and then he's going to be so mad.
This is definitely not a position I wanted to be in. I steered clear of this for 20-some years. Trump gets back into office, and here I am. My fear, I guess, is that when I start looking around and I start seeing things, that I'm just going to lose it. I'm going to, do what I did before. Oh,
Edward Snowden.
I really hope that doesn't happen. I have no indication that will happen. That's just the voice inside of me saying, here we go again, So, I guess we'll see what happens. There should be no reason for any of you to have fear of anything. So far as I know, everyone is safe based on.
Then that's it. That's it. It just cuts off right there. And people are like, well, you think it was a message that it cuts off at 6 minutes and 20 seconds, 6:20? You think it's a secret message? This is what he posted today or yesterday. Hey guys, running super late. Let's make it 9 p.m. Eastern. I'll let you know if anything changes. Something happened and I was needed. Nothing personal. Hint, can't get there. Duty calls back tomorrow. Day before. Something came up last minute. I'll postpone until tomorrow. That'll be Wednesday and Thursday this week. He posted this video. This one we already watched in the Rolls Royce.
What's up, everybody? Long time no see. I'm going to be back in action tomorrow.
It says, hey guys, I'm exhausted from traveling back to the East Coast to my next live. So my next live will be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Tomorrow. Sorry I couldn't do it tonight. I'm just really, really tired. I mean, from Hawaii to the East Coast in a day is brutal. So I'm back on the East Coast.
Even back on the 20th, he's like, hey fam, I've been to Maui with my family and friends this past week. I'll be back stateside early next week. And my live streaming will continue probably Monday, possibly Tuesday. Stay tuned for further updates. At least a week he's been lying to them. Longer than that, dude. He doesn't stream at all anymore, hardly.
Today, I'm going to be home all week, so I plan on having about 2, maybe 3 lives this week. I think it's going to be, how it's going to turn out, it's probably going to be Tuesday, Thursday for the lives, and then possibly a day this weekend. If it is a day, it's probably going to be Saturday. I think that's going to be the day that makes the most sense. So, sorry about last week. I know the extended absence always sucks, but March every year, we always have a family event going on. We always have a spring break for the kids, and we take them out.
On March 13th, he predicted Trump expected to drop income tax to 0% within days, according to Fox News. There you have it. Why do people on an Indian reservation not have to pay taxes on tips? But yet, when you work for a corporation on a reservation, you have to.
Our Maui property.
Got it.
Just relax. I didn't even really talk to many people last week other than the people that I was with.
Dude, it's exhausting traveling back and forth to Hawaii, obviously.
Everything else just completely got ignored. So thanks for sticking with me. I got a lot of stuff to talk about. I mean, I'm like booming with information. And honestly, I don't even know how I'm going to fit it into one live. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is breaking down the information that I have and spreading it throughout the week. And there's a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff that you guys know, a lot of stuff that you guys don't know. So I'll get all that to you starting tomorrow. We're going to do tomorrow, I think I said at 8, or did I say 7? I don't know what I said. Whatever I said, that's what we're going to do. I think I said 7. So I'll see you guys tomorrow night, 7 p.m., and we'll get back into the groove of things. Love you guys. See you then.
The last time he did a video was March the fucking 4th. 23 days ago, and now he's telling him he needs a month off to go back to work. He's already taken a month off. March the 4th, February 11th, January 30th, January 14th, January 6th. So at least he got 3 in January. He got 1 in February. Holy shit, dude. 2 in December. 3 in November. I'm sorry, 4 in November. 2 in October. He's basically just given up. Is that still Mariotti? What an idiot. The company he tried to scam out of money, and he's like, oh, these pieces of shit over here. Anyways, Phil's coming out of retirement, guys. That's the big news. Everybody should be super happy for him. Jesus Christ. I don't even know what to say. He stole money from them to make himself a millionaire. And now at least just say I'm not doing a stream. Cuz fuck it, I'm a millionaire and live in Hawaii. But to keep them hanging on like I've got this crazy intel, it's coming up. I can't wait. I'm just bursting with intel to give to you guys. I'm right there as soon as I can. I'm gonna get it right to you. Oh, I canceled for a month straight, and now I'm gonna need another month off. I'm working for Trump. Yeah, that's what's happening. Had to come out of retirement. About like this dude.
And they understand the cost that is involved.
So this is a pastor.
There's 1,000 of you. I said close them doors. Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors.
This is a pastor to his congregation, okay? And he is asking the people online to give $20, at least a $20 donation. The people in the auditorium to give at least a $20 donation. And everybody that's on stage with him to give at least a $100 donation. And he's telling the people here, the deacons to close the doors until they get this money, to lock people in.
And they understand the cost that is involved. There's 1,000 of you. I said close them doors. Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. It's 1,000 that's watching online. This is a small seed. If I get 1,000 online to give this, if I get 1,000 in the sanctuary to give this, that's $40,000 tonight. Now, everyone up here, we've all sold and seeded, but I need everyone standing up here with us, with me, to plant a seed of $100. Because again, it costs to sit up here. And this is what I need you to do. If you're giving electronic...
It costs to be on the stage? And then, like, people could just... So you can donate on your phone, you can donate in the basket, right, or in the offering plate. No. He needs to see you donate. So if you're going to donate in person or digitally, come to the altar to where I can watch you make the donation.
Because again, it costs to sit up here. And this is what I need you to do. If you're giving electronically or even if you're giving tangibly, I'm going to have y'all come to the altar and give it because I need to see 1,000 people moving. Bring them baskets. I want the baskets up here. I want to see the folk. Y'all start moving. Y'all can bring it right now. Come. 1,000 people need to give $20. 1,000 people need to give $20. 1,000 people online need to give $20. This is easy, saints. And they understand
it's easy, guys.
That is involved.
It's easy, saints. This is easy. 1,000 people watching online, $20 a piece. 1,000 people here in the congregation, $20 a piece. That's $40,000. Then everybody on stage give at least $100 because it costs money.
This is a bear trap.
It costs money to be on stage. You know that. We know that. Okay? It costs money to be on stage. And I'm tired of people pretending like it doesn't.
To set the stage here,
I'm going to start holding you motherfuckers hostage till somebody donates.
Republicans are in a world of hurt.
I wouldn't doubt if they had an ATM in there.
That they've been crying about for a decade, Hillary Clinton mishandling national security information, is literally what they just got caught doing, only to a far worse degree by inviting a journalist into a group chat on an app not designed for government military operations. But fear not, because while this might seem inconceivably bad for Republicans, Don Jr. is here to rescue the party. He took
Thank God.
writing, "Why doesn't Jeffrey Goldberg disclose to readers in his stories that he's a registered Democrat? His wife also worked for Hillary Clinton and has donated nearly $25,000 to Democrats."
Ooh. I thought Jeffrey Goldblum was MAGA.
Okay, Don Jr., you're right. I guess the question now becomes, why did the Trump administration invite a registered Democrat into the Trump security official group chat? My dude, I get that you think you're helping, but there is such a thing as being too dumb to help. I mean, first of all, it doesn't matter what partisan political affiliation Jeffrey Goldberg has. It wouldn't matter if Goldberg was the Democratic nominee for President of the United States. The facts surrounding his involvement are not in dispute. He himself released the proof that he was invited by National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. Here is the screenshot that Goldberg released.
Michael Waltz added you to the group. Disappearing messages, time set to 1 week. It won't show you people that are added. People are like, why doesn't it say, like, this person was added and that, who added these other? It won't show you. It only shows you when you join the group who gets added after you.
Showing that Waltz invited him into the chat. And beyond that, the legitimacy of the text thread was also verified by the White House. So Don Jr. can paint Goldberg partisan all he wants.
Jaybird can leave. Everybody else stay right here. Lock them doors. Lock them doors.
But it is completely immaterial. Nonetheless, let's humor Don Jr. and assume that Goldberg is a rabid partisan Democrat. Hell, let's throw all caution to the wind and say that Goldberg organizes BLM protests when he's not leading local Antifa chapter meetings. Wouldn't that be all the more reason not to have invited him into the group chat? Seems like a pretty damning indictment against the Trump team that not only did they accidentally invite a reporter into their war planning session, but they invited a registered Democrat reporter whose wife also worked for Hillary Clinton and has donated nearly $25,000 to Democrats. Seems extra bad when you put it that way, doesn't
A little bit.
it, Don Jr.? Seems like something that, if you're trying to run cover for your dad, you might not want to volunteer. Except, of course, if you're too stupid not to know when to shut up. And let's be clear, even if Don Jr. wasn't an idiot, this is an impossible situation to try and defend because it is indefensible. In fact, it is so indefensible that even Republicans are starting to speak out against it.
I can't see any rationale for the kind of conversation that took place over Signal for not taking place in a more secure manner than that.
I think that bears an investigation to see when and how it's being used.
They thought it was safe, and they had a discussion. And I think they made some mistakes in that regard.
Whether it's considered, quote, classified or just highly sensitive, it was too detailed. Whether you can call it a war plan or not, it's just too detailed to pretend that it wasn't a big deal.
I'm worried about everybody and how they have handled this Signal controversy.
Hexeth had all those battle plans he discussed, and
does it concern me? Hell yes.
And look, from a political perspective, you might as well go ahead and speak out against it and at least try and reclaim some modicum of credibility here, because regardless, let's be honest, nothing is going to happen to these Republicans. Pam Bondi immediately poured cold water on the very notion that she would even investigate this, because despite a literal decade of pearl clutching about Hillary Clinton, at the end of the day, none of their fainting spells were ever actually about the merits. They were just an
They don't actually care. It's just, hey, it's them. They did something wrong. Lock her up. Am I right?
effort to burnish their credentials, their reputations, fundraise, and ultimately gain power for themselves.
In terms of the Signals chat controversy that's going on, is DOJ involved at this point? If so, why? If not, why not?
Well, first, it was sensitive information, not classified, and inadvertently released. And what we should be talking about is it was a very successful mission. The world is now safer because of that mission. We're not going to comment any further.
And the Atlantic sucks, and that guy's a Democrat. He hates Trump. He lies.
That, if you want to talk about classified information, talk about what was at Hillary Clinton's home that she was trying to bleach a bit. Talk about the classified documents in Joe Biden's garage that Hunter Biden had access to. This was not classified information, and we are very pleased with the results of that operation and that the entire world is safer because of it.
And yet, even though it is abundantly clear that these Trump officials will never face an ounce of accountability thanks to people like Pam Bondi herself, still they wouldn't dare acknowledge objective reality and admit even an ounce of fault, because rule number one for Trump and his mouthpieces is that you accept zero blame and take all the credit. You could watch a group of 7-year-olds play kickball during recess with more integrity than this group of grown-ass adults with security clearance behaves on a given day. In fact, one such right-wing mouthpiece, Benny Johnson, tried the same strategy with me on Piers Morgan's show and didn't go great.
It's so malevolent, evil, and dangerous for American politicians who have classified information to store them, and all of that classified information illegally on private servers inside of a water closet, being run totally offline by a bunch of goons that I've hired in order to keep my secrets secure. Also, when the Trump administration found out about this, they destroyed those servers, right? Where they smashed them, they got rid of them, they bleach bitted them, and that's how they treated our classified information. Oh my God, that was Hillary. I'm so sorry, Piers. I know this is a professional show. I apologize. Let's see. How am I going to do the cognitive dissonance when I voted for Hillary Clinton and then I allowed Joe Biden to be president while being totally mentally incapacitated and somehow say that the president's administration is reckless with classified information, which it wasn't classified. No names, no targets. Yeah.
Another guy paid by the Russians, by the way. Paid by the Russians. Didn't have to change a single talking point to meet the Russians' requirements for payment.
I mean, look, it's all just, I mean, it's bullshit. Like Benny is just flailing because he can't accept reality right now. And he knows full well that if the tables were turned, he would be going on a scorched earth tirade about how all of these people should resign or worse, be prosecuted or criminally. I mean, like, what are we even doing here? Are you that much of a partisan hack that you can't just acknowledge? The problem is this administration is so incapable of taking the L that they would rather just entrench and prolong these problems even more.
Brian, you're not in charge of what's classified and what's not. Now, I'm perfectly happy to let all that play out. Let's fine, do an investigation, figure out what's classified and what's not. We know that Hillary Clinton had classified information on a private server and that she destroyed it. We know that. That's confirmed.
You're not even capable of not talking about Hillary Clinton, are you?
So should Okay, fine. Let's fast forward. Joe Biden. We know that he had classified information next to his Corvette.
Are you able to recognize the issue right in front of us instead of talking about
Answer
previous
me
Democratic
the
presidents?
question. Is it wrong? Is it wrong for Hillary and Joe to do it?
Is it wrong for them to be reckless with classified information? Absolutely. See, not that hard.
Okay.
It's not that hard to take accountability for when somebody fucks up on your own side. So look, if any of these right-wing clowns, Junior down to Benny Johnson, want to die on this hill, that's their prerogative. But the only
I think Pierce Morgan actually had a decent tweet on this, saying like he may have changed his mind since then. Trump will probably never speak to him again. The one time he calls him out, he's a fucking goddamn bootlicker. If you don't consider this to be classified info about imminent war plans, it may be that you're too partisan to recognize the truth when it slaps you around your tribal chops. If this had been on Biden's watch, Republicans would have rightly gone berserk.
reputation that it's destroying, the only credibility that it's destroying, the only moral high ground that it's destroying is their own. I understand that these Republican officials don't give a shit, but I am banking on the fact that Americans more broadly are not looking to reward the most craven actors on earth with a free pass in this next election cycle. Republicans are clearly anticipating the exact opposite, that they can treat their voters like utter fools and there's going to be no consequences. We're going to find out which strategy ultimately.
We love the poorly educated.
Before you go, first, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we're now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they're willing to cater to this White House. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a great way for me to be able to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's completely free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support my work. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.
I want to see what this is. I promise I'm not doing a long show tonight. I got a headache. But what is this one? YouTube millionaire? Who is this?
Life in prison after attempting... This YouTube millionaire is now facing life in prison after attempting to end the life of a cop and threatening everyone in court. And speaking of his court hearing, it's hard to get more ridiculous than this.
If anyone dares try to test my mental confidence, I will eviscerate every single person with my intelligence right now.
Well, when you put it like that, case dismissed. I mean, threatening everyone in the courtroom might not be the best way to get out of an attempted murder charge, but unfortunately for him, it doesn't seem like he's as bright as he thinks he is. Either way, this is Eric Van Conover. He's been described as a YouTube millionaire and clearly he can eviscerate you with his gigabrain intelligence, but what he's really known for doing...
I don't know who he is.
...his real estate videos for homes, basically
real estate
combined, could not afford. $1 billion house, $500 million mansion in America, what $150 million buys you in New York.
Eric Van Conover. Does anybody watch him?
York City, and so on and so on. But the coolest thing I saw this guy do was he toured the original Home Alone house.
Welcome to one of the most famous houses in America.
But either way, Eric had everything going for him until he allegedly made the worst decision of his life.
Police paperwork says the pursuit started after Conover was going 55 in a 35. After 8 miles, Conover stopped and an officer attempted to de-escalate the situation, but Conover allegedly drove at him and hit him in the leg and then sped...
The fuck is addressed in days, man? If you just come out and deny everything... I don't know if that's addressed.
Off for another 28 miles.
Take the speeding ticket. What are you doing? They're alleging that he was drunk, but even so, take the DUI charge. Trying to end the life of a cop will completely ruin your life. There is no... Whoa, damn, dog. There is no way that would ever work out in your favor, but after this incident, the police tracked down Eric, and Eric claimed that he was not the same guy they were looking for. Apparently, that was a lie. And Eric, he is quoted telling the cops, "This seems to be a massive misunderstanding. I'm exactly who I say I am. I'm a YouTuber." He also said that he was not from Epsicon? So basically, to avoid being arrested, Eric claimed that there's another Eric out there from a small town in Absecon, New Jersey, and that he's not that Eric. He's a famous YouTuber from New York City. Well,
I'm from a town with population 8,000 with, get this, a median per capita income of $41,000 per year.
That was a lie. Dude should have erased his internet footprint before lying to the cops. I mean, at this point, it looks like his next video will be something like touring my new $100 million home. And to make things worse for him, the cop who Eric almost ended the life of is named Cameron Emmett, and he attempted to pull Eric over while Eric was doing 55 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone. So that's basically just a speeding ticket, but for whatever reason, the cop putting his lights on made Eric completely panic. Why would he run? Yeah, we kind of hinted at that earlier, but the cop followed Eric and managed to stop him through a few maneuvers, and then things got really bad. Brian Muff is the police sergeant who testified in court, and he said while Officer Emmett exited the vehicle, he moved around the rear of his cruiser, and Mr. Conover then backed his vehicle rapidly, pointed it directly at Officer Emmett, and accelerated at him. And this struck him with a reasonably high...
Holy shit.
That is a pretty good case for attempted murder, especially because the officer flew 20 to 40 feet from the impact. And the case against Eric isn't...
Holy shit.
...looking good for him either because, you know, the whole interaction was caught on video by a drone operator. And trust me, I looked everywhere from that video, but it is not public yet.
Talk to me about attempted murder. Is attempted murder hard to prove here?
Well, if the deputy's recount of what took place stands and isn't controverted by some other evidence or testimony, for example, like body cam or dash cam from the car, then yes, it's not going to be terribly hard for them to get an attempted murder charge. Look, if this person could clearly see that the officer is standing in front of the car, sees the officer clinging to the hood, accelerates at him at, they say, a reasonable rate of speed, well, clearly it must have been fast enough to when he hit the brakes or swerved that the officer went 20 feet, according to what the fellow officer said. That means that car was going at an extremely high rate of speed, in my opinion, based upon what I've seen in other incidents. And that in and of itself shows a reckless disregard.
Obviously, he's got to be on something to see a cop and freak out like that.
Yeah. To knock him 20 feet away with your car?
Which might be the case because Eric is also facing a DUI charge from just a few days before this incident on March 13th. Here he was charged with possession of the reefer and a DUI and was released on personal recognizance, which means that he didn't have to put up a bond or anything. They just trusted he was going to appear in court, which he did for completely other reasons. I would be kicking myself right now if I was the guy who ruled that he should be released on personal recognizance right now. But in this hearing, which happened on March 17th, the judge ordered that Eric to be held without bail pending a competency hearing on March 25th. That hearing, the one from the 17th, is where we got Eric saying that he was going to eviscerate every single person in the courtroom with his intelligence. He's also saying that everyone there was treating him like an animal, which, I mean, it could be true, you know, since Eric is fully crashing out here.
Oh, thank God, look at me!
Today in court, Conover was outspoken, claiming that he's a public figure because of his nearly 3 million subscribers on YouTube, and saying this was part of a, quote, police sting against him.
All right.
Okay, Eric, right. They're here to help you.
What a nightmare for the parents. That is not a position any parent wants to be in. But yeah, his charges include attempted murder, the DUI, and a first-degree assault charge against the police officer. He's also getting a second-degree assault, reckless conduct with a deadly weapon, and conduct after an accident. Then on top of that, disobeying an officer and reckless driving. I mean, that is just one insane list. But he did use his car to try to end the life of a cop and drive off. So I mean, what did he expect?
He has had a chance to review.
I think it's one thing when they try to trump up charges like you just drove away from a cop and the cop's like, I could have fell in front of your car, blah, blah, blah. But you're like actively trying not to hit him. It's a completely different thing when you're trying to hit him.
The police report in this matter denies these allegations. He does not agree with the reports as they are stated.
The defense asked that he be released, saying he's not a threat to the public and has no criminal record. Police say he was arrested Friday night for a separate drunk driving charge, which Conover denies.
I've been sober from alcohol for 1,558 days, so to trust me on the DUI, I'm a public figure.
Yeah, fair. He was like, oh, and then he tried to end the life of a cop just a few days later. I mean, this whole situation just does not make sense to me. Extremely successful dude. Throws it all away because I guess he was panicking to get out of an alleged DUI. Was he under like some sort of reefer-induced psychosis? Because we know some people respond terribly to it, and he was caught with it just a few days earlier. Not like being caught with that is a terrible thing now in 2025, considering you're fine with a personal use amount in most states, but clearly he was in the wrong state with it. I'm just trying to make sense of this. Obviously, it could be any other harder substance or alcohol, a lot of alcohol. But either way, I mean, the dude has completely lost his mind, with or without substances, as he's coming across as an ego-centered dude who thinks his internet fame means nothing can touch him. I'm sorry, dude. That just makes you come across as even worse. Like, this is, in a way, similar to the Wes Watson case, where the defense is pushing for self-defense, despite Wes hitting the guy 50 times over the head and yelling, I'll end your life, over and over again. Eric, he tried to run over a cop, managed to hit
_J_banana subscription. An
Thank
anonymous
you.
user gifted a tier 1 sub to Dr_J_banana.
Thank you very much for the gift of sub.
in the leg and then ran some more. And this is, again, all after he just got a DUI charge, and the defense is claiming that he's not a danger. His defense must be on what he's on, because clearly this guy's a menace to society. I love that they're claiming that the reason he's not a threat to society is because he had no violent priors. What about that DUI he was charged with days before this happened? What? Like, dude didn't even have time to go to court for that case until he was dragged in for a way worse reason. But I do think the next question is how a guy goes from this seemingly high-functioning, successful person to a complete crash-out who almost ends someone's life. And while researching, I found Eric does have a history of alcoholism. And yes, he claims to be over 1,000 days sober, but with the recent events, I'm not so sure about that anymore.
Alcoholism can run through a family, and if a family has resources, that could be the undoing of it. So, by the time it got to me, 12 generations down, I'm from, a very middle-class family in Epsika, New Jersey. I'm not, owning 3,000 acres in Flatbush. So yeah, I'm from Epsika, New Jersey. I was born into a very middle-class family, hard workers. I have a history of alcoholism on both sides of my family. But the thing is, alcoholism, I've realized, is a side effect of trauma. Like, plain and simple, addiction is a side effect of trauma.
It's actually depressing that he started a podcast called Building a Legacy 2 months ago, and now he's sitting where he's sitting. You really are just one bad decision away from completely ruining your life. But this is looking more and more like a high-strung guy who had a relapse and is not accepting it. Of course, that's alleged because Eric is claiming that he did not relapse. In fact, this video I showed was apparently filmed in late 2024, but Eric actually uploaded it fairly recently, putting this in the description of the video. I'm just gonna make some guesses here because, like, why would he record this a few months ago and then post it way more recently? Is this him relapsing and then posting this video to, like, try to make it look like he isn't relapsing? Is this just a way for him to, I guess, lie to himself or his audience? Maybe he uploaded all this because he was slipping and wanted a way to hold himself accountable. I don't know. It's just speculation. And look, I'm not defending the guy because he almost ended someone's life, but it seems like a serious mental health breakdown. I wouldn't be surprised if it came out that he was having a really bad relapse because he's showing signs of paranoia by thinking the cops have
something.
And then you have the signs of denial by claiming he's so many days sober and claiming that he's a public figure, like that'll get him out of this. I mean, he even said in court that he could pay $1 million to free himself, but that he shouldn't have to pay more than $2,000. Obviously, the judge thought both were BS because Eric is still being held without bail. Like, dude, why would you ever tell a judge you could pay $1 million if you want to? Like, come on. I just witnessed how terrible the Johnny Smalley court case was, but he is known for being a moron. So that's not like a shocker. But this guy is known for carrying himself well and at least being very presentable. And somehow his court case was infinitely worse. He couldn't have came across worse to a judge. And now, as of the 25th of March, Eric had a 40-minute closed competency hearing. A competency hearing is basically where the judge rules if the defendant, in this case Eric, is able to rationally understand the charges brought against him. These kind of hearings are typically held for a reason. And even though they're listing that the reason here is confidential, I'd say Eric's previous court case appearance shows why they would really need to do something like this.
I will eviscerate every single person with my intelligence right now.
So basically, that hearing happened, and the judge said that we got to get this guy checked out. Dude acted out of pocket in court, and then they had to bring in the professionals. It hasn't been released yet if Eric will actually go to trial, but if he does, it's not looking good for him at all. Because if I can find the clips on him confirming that he's essentially lying to the police, they can do so. That TV on a trolley is going to be wheeled in real quickly, and they'll be playing all of those receipts. So hopefully he doesn't threaten the jury by eviscerating them with his intelligence. But we'll see what the ruling is once all the red tape falls away. Until then, YouTube thinks you'll enjoy this video, so feel free to check it out. And hey, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe, and stop by again tomorrow so I can see you in my next video, because I'm uploading a lot now. Peace.
Anyways, I like Tozy. Check him out. He covers a lot of different drama around social media people. I've never seen that guy before, but I guess you can be a millionaire and still get a DUI and try to kill cops. I guess.
The Trump team's Signalgate scandal just got even dumber, right? And that because the German newspaper Der Spiegel revealed that it did some snooping. And
this is what I was reading to you the other day. They leaked all their passwords and Venmos and phone numbers and all kinds of shit from Der Spiegel.
We're able to obtain personal emails, phone numbers, and even passwords connected to Pete Hegseth, Mike Waltz, and Tulsi Gabbard. With the outlet saying it was actually particularly easy to get the defense secretary's info. All they had to do was go through a commercial provider of contact information primarily used by companies for sales, marketing, and recruitment. The reporter is getting Hegseth's Gmail address and a mobile.
By the way, it looks like the Trump administration is having the Fed calculate GDP differently. So everybody's been talking about the Fed broadcast or prediction that the GDP was going to be like negative 2.9, 2.8, somewhere around there. Really bad. Looks like we're heading into a recession. That was their prediction. But for now, for some reason now, they have a separate GDP model called the gold-adjusted GDP now, where for the first time ever, we're going to include import and exports of physical golds in our GDP numbers, which adjusts for imports and exports of gold as described here. And when you include that, you get a positive GDP of 0.2% growth. What the fuck? Is this how they're going to get around the GDP numbers showing that we're headed into a pretty bad recession? Is that what we're doing? We're just going to change how we calculate it for the last fucking 300 years? Okay.
Mobile phone number, and then finding the same email as well as sometimes the password affiliated with it in over 20 publicly accessible data leaks. Right?
So this is kind of the same thing that Telegram does. If you ever sign up for a Telegram account, the first thing you want to do is go make sure that your number is not showing to people. Same thing with Signal. You don't want to show your number publicly to people. That way, if they get a hold of your account, they can't find your number, but it gets even worse.
This wasn't like some super old Another Life information. The outlet verified that the email had been used just a few days ago. But then also the phone number leading reporters to a WhatsApp account that had apparently only recently been deleted. You then also had the outlet using the same commercial provider to find the National Security Advisor's contact information. With that, then leading reporters to Waltz's profiles for Microsoft Teams, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, and Signal. And notably, they also found several passwords for his email address in leaked databases. With reportedly at least the WhatsApp and Signal accounts still in use at the time, because when Der Spiegel tried them, the messages were delivered. Though both accounts apparently were then deactivated shortly afterward. And then lastly, you had the outlet saying that Gabbard's information was the hardest to find since she had hers blocked on the commercial provider. But they said they did track down her email address in over 10 data leaks, one of which also contained a partial telephone number, which, when completed, led to an active WhatsApp account and a Signal profile. Now with that, Gabbard's office told reporters that her leaked data is almost a decade old, claiming that she hadn't used the relevant platforms for several years and that she had changed her password several times. But there, you had Der Spiegel reporting that her private Google account was used as recently as around 2 weeks ago, and messages to her WhatsApp and Signal accounts were apparently delivered. And actually, all in all, you had the outlet saying that most of the numbers and email addresses are apparently...
Yeah, Hegseth has phegseth@mail.ru. Why does he have a Russian-based email address?
Still in use, and they were used to create Dropbox accounts and profiles and apps that track running data. But there, they also clarified that it's unclear whether these are the same phone number as used for the Signal accounts involved in, the not war plans, definitely just attack plans scandal. With them also adding they didn't try the email passwords to test if they were still active. But either way, you had experts warning that hackers could use the data to launch phishing expeditions where they convincingly pose as one of these officials. And this is, you then have the risks of malware, spyware, and political blackmail, with Der Spiegel concluded. It is thus conceivable that foreign agents were privy update to the Signal chat group in which Gabbard, Waltz, and Hegseth discussed a military strike. But also, a big thing is that Der Spiegel wasn't alone here. The investigative media seems to be having a field day with Trump's cabinet right now, with, for example, Wired revealing that it found what appears to be Mike Waltz's personal Venmo account, and yes, it was left public, meaning his entire 328-person friend list was on full display for anyone to analyze and exploit, with that including accounts that
National Security Advisor, you know,
appeared to belong to Susie Wiles, the White House Chief of Staff, and Walker Barrett, a staffer on the National Security Council, both of whom were in the Signal group chat. Right, and those two were just some of just a whole slew of names that have been getting plastered left and right. But then they're also being a focus on things like venture capitalists, defense industry executives, lobbyists, and a variety of kind of more ordinary folks such as doctors, real estate agents, and a tailor. Or with seeing experts saying they were especially concerned about those low-level connections. Right, in that, because reportedly they're what spies exploit for dirt, like private medical information, for example, as well as patterns, pressure points, or a way in. And that was just from Waltz's apparent profile. If you go through him, you get to Susie Wiles, and the account with her name had a 182-person friend list, which also is completely public and included names like U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi. Now, with all that, reportedly when Wired reached out to the White House for comment, the accounts appearing to belong to Waltz and Wiles both went fully private. You know, all of this is notably, it's not the first time that Trump's inner circle has been exposed like this. Right, last July, Wired also found J.D. Vance's public Venmo, exposing a network of connections to Project 2025 architects, DOJ officials, Yale law classmates, wealthy finance.
Bro, it's 2025. Hire some, and you guys are fucking multimillionaires. Hire somebody to secure your shit.
Tech executives, and far-right media figures. And then more recently, the American Prospect found Pete Hegseth's Venmo, which was also public. It included names matching defense executives, lobbyists, and Bush-era officials. So now, both Vance's and Hegseth's Venmo accounts have since been deleted. Now, you know, with all this, I think it's fair and important to know that just because they're friends with someone on Venmo, that does not necessarily mean they've transacted with each other. But it's possible they just automatically populated their friends list with their phone contacts. But still, you have experts saying these sprawling networks of connections to the highest people in the White House are security vulnerabilities in themselves. You know, with many suggesting that the Signal group chat may not have been an isolated glitch as Trump has claimed, but rather part of a pattern of sloppiness in his administration. And, you know, very notably here, it looks like most ordinary people are not buying the White House's attempts to downplay this scandal. With, for example, a new YouGov poll finding that 74% of Americans, including 60% of Republicans, believe that Signalgate is serious. However, only about half of people say they believe that Trump officials broke the law, including just a fifth of Republicans, which I will say it makes it all the more interesting. That's the word I'll use. And we've now gotten the news that Trump has reportedly assigned Elon Musk and the Doge team to assist in the investigation of Signalgate. Because, you know, why not? You know, naturally, many people neither trust nor feel like waiting for the White House to investigate itself, and so they're going straight to the courts. The nonpartisan American Oversight Organization now suing Hegseth, Gabbard, Ratcliffe, Rubio, Treasury Secretary Besson, and the National Archives and Records Administration. And specifically, they're accusing them of violating the Federal Records Act and Administrative Procedure Act. With the suit,
For sure. For sure, especially with disappearing messages.
Hoping to prevent further unlawful destruction of federal records, as well as to compel the recovery of any records created through the unauthorized use of Signal. With this thing, the group's interim executive director saying, war planning doesn't belong in emoji-laden disappearing group chats. It belongs in secure facilities designed to safeguard national interests, something any responsible government official should have known. Right? And all of that is happening as the Trump administration is still in a frantic defense mode, with different officials lurching back and forth between apologizing for the mistake and insisting they have nothing to apologize for, with everyone seemingly contradicting each other. And in addition to deflecting the blame toward Atlantic editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg and the media in general, accusing them of an orchestrated misinformation campaign and what they called a witch hunt. With one of the more jaw-dropping performances, as always, coming from Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who got into this spat with a reporter from Sky News yesterday.
Yep. Anybody else? Should the defense secretary? What country are you? Wait, what country are you from?
This is crazy, dude. She hears an accent, so she starts screaming, "What country are you from? We don't fucking care about you."
Jaw-dropping performances, as always, coming from Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who got into this spat with a reporter from Sky News yesterday.
Yep. Anybody else? Should the defense secretary? What country are you? Wait, what country are you from? The UK. Okay, we don't give a crap about your opinion and your reporting. Why don't you go back to your country where you have a major migrant problem? Okay, and you, no. You should care about your own borders. Do you care about American lives? No. Let me tell you something. Do you care about people from your country? What about all the women that are raped by migrants? Do you care about migrants? No. Do you care? Okay, you're done. Do you care about American lives being put at risk? You know what? I don't care. I don't. Members fighting for your country. I don't care about your fake news. Do you have a relevant question? Yeah. This is an American journalist. Thank you.
I'm an American, and I'd like to hear your answer to what she's asked.
I'm not answering her question.
Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this clip from the full Philip DeFranco show. And also, a big thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring our clip channel. Turn your passion into profit over at squarespace.com/filler. Use the QR code. Because whether you're launching a business or a lucrative side hustle, your website is your digital business card. It's the only space where you control the story. No algorithms or distractions. And with Squarespace, it's so easy because they got a ton of stunning professional templates with drag and drop editing that makes site design incredibly simple. No coding required. So get started for free at squarespace.com/Phil, or scan the QR code on screen and use code Phil for 10% off when ready to launch. Squarespace.com/Phil.
Wild, dude. The whole administration's a bunch of fucking... None of these people should have been confirmed. None of them.
All right, I want to start this segment with a clip of Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett during a Doge subcommittee. She then gets cut off by Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene as Crockett's...
They always go back and forth.
Criticizing the fact that at this hearing, the objective is to look into, and then ultimately Marjorie Taylor Greene calls for the defunding of NPR and PBS these publicly funded media companies because they're too liberal. Of course, that's the big MAGA objective. And then I'll show you a clip of Marjorie Taylor Greene going absolutely ballistic. But let's start with this one, getting a little bit heated. If you appreciate the show, as always, I'll remind you to click the subscribe button.
Free speech is not about whatever it is that y'all want somebody to say. And the idea that you want to shut down everybody that is not Fox News is bullshit. We need to stop playing because that's what y'all are doing in here. You don't want to hear the opinions of anybody else. And the Constitution says Congress shall make no law respecting or establishing of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the
gentlewoman's time has expired.
Press.
The gentlewoman's.
And then the mic is literally muted so quickly. Marjorie, I don't know if it was her, but had her finger on that button ready. Because the second part, an important part of that statement reading the First Amendment, is laying out the free speech protections that in so many ways, this is one of them. It's a part of a broader plot. And if you zoom out and you see, okay, they're wanting to go after PBS and NPR. Trump is going after CBS, his FCC, launching investigations into liberal outlets that Trump doesn't like, that Trump has made issues of. Trump's trying to get with the ABC, with the Ann Seltzer, with the CBS lawsuit, money paid to him to try to force these
trying to capitalize
and individuals to bend the knee and do coverage that he likes. Meanwhile, Marjorie Taylor Greene is clashing with a reporter and saying, I
think that's the same clip.
Because you're from the UK, and loses her ever-loving mind.
Yep. Anybody else?
Should the defense secretary?
What country are you? Wait, what country are you from?
The UK.
Okay, we don't give a crap about your opinion and your reporting. Why don't you go back to your country where you have a major migrant problem?
Why did people vote for this horrible bitch?
Okay, no. You should care about your own borders.
Do you care about American lives?
No. Let me tell you something. Do you care about people from your country? What about all the women that are raped by migrants?
Do you care
No, by migrants. No, do you care? Okay, you're done.
Do you care about American lives being put at risk?
You know what? I don't care. I don't.
Members fighting for your country.
I don't care about your fake news. Do you have a relevant question? Yeah, this is an American journalist. Thank you.
An American journalist. You have a relevant question. He says, "I'm an American. I want you to answer her question."
And I'd like to hear your answer to what she's asked.
I'm not.
I love that. I love it so much. The reporter, wait, I'm American. Yeah. Shut up. I'm American. Actually, no. Answer her question. Love it. And
Trump started this shit. Remember during COVID when he wouldn't take any questions from Asian reporters and basically blamed it like it's your country's fault. We're in this mess.
What happens, I've heard Marjorie posted once because someone with an accent asked Trump a question and Marjorie said, we shouldn't have anybody else, any reporters from other countries asking the American president questions. America first, shoo-wee. And have you ever thought that we get a lot of critical information reporting from American reporters who get access to foreign leaders? Don't you also want to know what foreign leaders in other countries are saying? So there's sort of a trade-off there. The world wants to know what's going on in our country, so we have a few reporters from the world talking to our reporters. Talking to our leaders, and then we have reporters from our country talking to other leaders, so that we can all sort of stay connected and informed on the world, because the world is bigger. We're a big part of it, but the world is bigger than just us.
Yeah, this is an American journalist. Thank you.
I'm American, and I'd like to hear your answer to what she's asked.
I'm not answering her question because I don't care about her network. If you would like to ask, I can answer.
Do you have any concerns whatsoever about the complete disregard of operational security from the top level of this administration?
You want to know about complete disregard about operational security?
I bet you, I haven't watched this final clip, I bet you $1 billion she will not address the signal controversy with the Trump administration and will bring something else up. Let's listen.
You should talk about the Biden administration.
Oh, there we go. Give me $1 billion now.
They ripped our borders open to terrorist, cartel, child sex trafficking, human trafficking, and drug trafficking across our borders for 4 years. The Trump administration is doing a great job, and I stand by their statements. I stand by their statements. My comment to you is I'm thankful to President Trump that he is leading us out of wars, that he's ending the war in Ukraine, where American lives could have been killed if Joe Biden was still president today, whether he liked it or not. We're talking about NPR and PBS today. We're talking about fake news that was funded with federal funding from American tax.
Yep. So that's kind of the nature of the response that we're hearing from a lot within the Trump defending cohort, which is to obfuscate, something about Biden or Hillary, or to say, I stand by whatever Pete Hegseth said, or I stand by what Mike Waltz said. But they're all saying contradictory and confusing things. So none of it's really being cleared up as it pertains to the leaked attack information, classified information to the journalist Jeffrey Goldberg. Before getting back to Marjorie, because you need a break from the negativity, here is some positivity. MSNBC reports why the latest Democratic special election victory should make Republicans nervous. Talks about the Pennsylvania state House race where a Democrat won, but then the other special election in the Keystone State is also super notable. Democrat James Malone has won an open Pennsylvania state Senate seat in a major upset in a district that comfortably voted for President Trump in November. Not just comfortably, but by 15 points, and a Democrat flipped that. And we've only seen one Democratic victory in this district in 40 years, other than this one. And so this is not where Democrats are supposed to be competitive, and yet Malone prevailed by running on a notable platform. Malone focused his message heavily on education and cuts to the federal government that he's had to deal with as a mayor of a small town, especially focusing in on the Musk impact on veterans, retirees, and students. Why is this notable? Because this means great things for the Democratic Party? No. We're still in a moment where the Democratic Party as an organization has low approval rating and just lost to Trump and is devastated in many ways. But in these smaller races, you're starting to see early, really early, the opposition. There's some juice in the opposition to the Trump administration already, and a message about the cuts that are hitting home because
somebody's standing up.
Elon's role and Trump's broader policy. These results come.
All right. You guys remember that girl we covered that came out against Cenk Uygur when Cenk was like siding with all these MAGA people, and her name was Francesca, and she was part of the Young Turks. And basically, she had a little debate with him, and she's like, so what's next? Are you going to get rid of me when I don't agree with you? Are you going to do this? Blah, blah, blah. We just feel like our job isn't safe and all this stuff, right? And he emphatically said, no, I'm not getting rid. We have a company where people can disagree. They're allowed to disagree with us, and we're not getting rid of anybody. We're not. Well, they got rid of her. And this is apparently their response to why they got rid of Francesca.
Recently, Francesca Fiorentini asked us at TYT to take her podcast, The Habituation Room, off the network, and we happily agreed to that. And today, I'm going a little further, and I'm going to take Francesca off the network entirely, so you won't see her on any of the TYT shows going forward. So I want you guys to know why I'm doing that and how this whole situation isn't really about Francesca. It's about TYT, our community, and what we stand for. And so we're for open minds and open hearts. And so I want all of you to know that, and I want to build a community that believes in that and invites people in that believe in the same things. And by the way, if you don't believe in the same things and you say, no, I have a strict ideology and I have no open mind about that, no problem. There are tons of shows out there for you guys. So first of all, we've had some disagreements. I certainly have with some of the far left, but I think they've been relatively small. But if you think that they've been large, no problem. So they've been around the issue of crime. Did crime rise between 2019 and 2023? Well, that's a fact. It did. But it's okay. We can have different interpretations of it. That's not an issue at all. We certainly are against police abuse, and we fought against it. I would argue at least as much as any show on the planet, and perhaps a lot more. And I take great pride that Benjamin Crump, among others, said that Trayvon Martin would not have gotten anywhere near the national coverage that he did if it wasn't for the Young Turks. So nevertheless, we could have disagreements about specific policy issues. And we do on slogans and framing, et cetera. For example, defund the police, Latinx. These are normal disagreements within any community. And I certainly would never want to shut that down because we're, again, for open minds. And of course, we've had some disagreements on the issue of transgender rights. Let me just say quickly what my position is, because a lot of people outside of the network have been misleading you about this. So I'm for 100% constitutional rights for transgender Americans because why? They're Americans, just like the rest of us, and they should have the same exact rights as us. They should be protected in bathrooms. They should definitely be allowed to serve in the military. And I happen to think that they should be allowed to play, transgender girls should be allowed to play in girls sports in high school. Now, my position on that is not overall popular in the country. I understand that, and I have a strategy for hopefully how to win on that in the long run. But I don't believe that they should be mandated to play in college and professional level. I think the league should get to make those decisions on their own. I think that is a small disagreement. Obviously, others think that's a giant disagreement, but that's, again, not the issue here. I think what the issue is when others, among the issues, is when others say, only my opinion is the correct one, the moral one. Everyone who disagrees with me is unintelligent, immoral, collaborator, etc. Well, we'll get to the specifics on Francesca in a second. I'm saying that generally. And that they speak for the left. Well, let's find out if they do speak for the left. This is a little bit of Francesca, a little bit of Emma Vigeland from Majority Report, and spliced in is the actual facts about what the American people think, and interestingly, what Democratic voters think. First, let's watch this.
I'm a big Messi fan, but let me just
answer my question. Would you allow him, if he said I'm a woman, to play in the American women's national team?
Yes, right now. Hell yeah, are you kidding me?
Transgender female athletes in women's sports, only 18%.
I think this is such a small fucking issue, first of all. And then I think it's up to the goddamn to the sports and to the regulation bodies of the sports, not the fucking federal government. Like, there's some sports where there's not that big of an advantage. There are other sports where it's a gigantic advantage.
Of the country says that they should be, in fact, allowed to participate in women's sports.
Your argument is really bad on this, and you're out of your depth. You're correct that trans women should be able to compete in women's sports, but your argument for it is just scientifically and factually incorrect. I'm actually not bad about this. I'm 100% right on this. I don't give a scientific explanations. People, if they identify as a woman, get to compete in sports. If that's not fair in the short term for a variety of little competitions, I don't give
I mean, my goodness gracious, 79%. You rarely get 79% of the country to agree on anything.
Because the societal interest of including trans people in society trumps stupid competition. Full stop. So I'm right about this. You're wrong about this.
You'd let Lionel Messi play in the women's national football team and destroy women's football forever. You'd let Usain Bolt.
Very difficult to get a ticket, which would suck.
I want to do a little checklist here. You'd let Usain Bolt compete as a sprinter in the American women's Olympic team.
Yes.
Okay. You would let Floyd Mayweather compete as a boxer in the women's American boxing team.
Opposing them in women's sports. You get 67% of Democrats, so 2/3 there. You get 64% of independents. You get about 2/3 there.
So I'm right about this. You're wrong about this.
Okay, generally speaking, if you want to say that you're right about something, sure, everybody has their own opinions, and it's their opinions. That's why they think that they're right. It's another thing to say that you speak for the left. As you just saw there, 67% of Democrats have a position that is actually to the right of mine. I say that trans girls should be allowed to play in girls' sports in high school. 67% of Democrats say no, not allowed in any women's sports. So I'll work on my Democratic brothers and sisters, and I'll try to get them to my position on that. Nothing wrong with disagreements. And if Emma, Francesca, and others can convince 79% of the nation that is opposed to that to come over to that side, fantastic. Happy to have it. Okay. So I think where the issue comes in is when things get personal. So we got 3 rules, generally speaking, on air here at TYT that are relatively bright lines. So one is, and I say relative, I'll explain that in a second. One is no lying. 2 is no threats of physical violence. And number 3 is don't denigrate personally the other hosts in the network over and over and over again. And I say relatively bright lines because they should be relatively easy to follow. But I get that people have disagreements about, hey, what's a lie? Are what they say about crime stats a lie or not? No, I'm not going to nitpick that. And we get into heated debates from time to time. Me and Ben Glebe in the past, me, Ben Mankiewicz, me, Michael Shore, etc. And I love those debates. And from somebody might cross the line and say something they shouldn't know, but we usually hug it out. And so I'm not nitpicking here. What we're looking for is, hey, are we all rowing generally in the same direction, or are some of us drilling holes in the boat? And so are you doing it over and over again on purpose?
Drilling holes in the boat. If you're running a network, why wouldn't you have people that have like a further left view and a more centrist view? Like, wouldn't that be better for the network? I'm not saying like you have to let her have your show and run it the way she wants to, but she has her own show that she runs.
To try to create an issue, or even if you're not trying to do it, you are creating an issue by constantly attacking our own. And I have applied this 2 other times, which I'll tell you about in a minute. This all started, unfortunately, when I went on Francesca's show, and we had what seemed like a normal conversation and debate about this issue until it made a turn. And this is part of the turn. Let me show you.
I'm reminded of the book by I think his name is Michael Schneider on tyranny.
Oh, this is the little interview they had, the little back and forth.
Wrote, it's like 20 lessons from the 20th century about authoritarianism and fascism. And one of the things that has come to mind when you say my strategy will protect us is he has this chapter, I'm gonna bring it up, the first part of it, called Do Not Obey in Advance. And he writes, most of the power of authoritarianism is freely given. In times like these, individuals think ahead about what a more repressive government will want and then offer themselves without being asked. A citizen who adapts in this way is teaching power what it can do. In other words, you don't have to do the sort of crackdown on the left around speech because I'm gonna do it for you. Or you don't have to come to me.
Down. Again, you're misstating it. I'm doing the exact opposite. You're cracking down by saying, Cenk, you're out of bounds. So you should stop your stupid opinion and because you're implicating me.
I can't believe that a guy who I used to admire and who I thought had a lot of fight is trying to scratch the back of people who absolutely would never do the same for them.
So we just spent an hour and a half of me explaining how I'm not scratching their back. I'm trying to get
I can show you more clips,
to agree with us on things we believe in, and we've always believed it. And you go back to scratching their back.
At least the trains will run on time.
The train's running on time, presumably a reference to Germany. I'm the collaborator, and I'm scratching the right wing's back by having my opinion. The opinion I've always had, an opinion I've had for years, and you guys have seen for years on the show.
The guy that said, I welcome people to disagree with me. I want people to disagree with me.
But if you don't agree with Francesca in that particular case and some other folks in the extreme left, well, you're not allowed to have that opinion. That is immoral by definition. And how dare you disagree with them? That makes you a right winger or a collaborator, etc. But if you say, hey, Cenk, look, I know that she's quoting someone, collaborating with an authoritarian government and saying that that's what you're doing and you're helping the right wing, and that she's not open to the idea of, hey, maybe there's a different strategy and a different opinion on this that gets us the same result protecting trans folks or whichever topic we're talking about. Okay, if you're not, and at that point, I certainly hadn't done anything. I think that was, I didn't appreciate that, but that's okay. We kept going, and she's been on the network since. Then she started to do more and more and more, and it got more and more personal. So after the discussion, this happened.
I like that we can both be very Mediterranean about it and get
Well, this is on the same interview. What do you mean it got worse and worse after that?
Super mad, but then rein it in and be cool, and then be like, we're just gonna yell, and then we're gonna be fine, and then we're gonna get over it. So that's the kind of beer I like to have.
Yes, thank you.
2 days later. I mean, I have my own thoughts on why he's doing it. I think if you think your brain was broken by the 2024 election, I think we're looking at a case where someone's brain was broken even harder.
Okay, but look, guys, if she had said that about another host, I probably would have drawn the line there. But it's about me, so I wanted to give more leeway. My brain is broken. And by the way, that's still, okay, the first time she's getting super personal. Collaborator, maybe that's a political opinion. Now we're a broken brain, even though we were supposed to have a beer and we were supposed to hash it out and be okay afterwards, but apparently not okay afterwards. But then that was the tip of the iceberg. She continued again and again. Here's the next one.
I do think it's sad that even though they allow people like us into the fold and the fray, they refuse to learn from us or listen to us. And I think that when you have been doing this work for so long and you still cannot grasp the idea of intersectionality, how race and gender and class all intertwine with one another, and how the fascist goal is to divide us based on these lines. I don't know who you are. I don't even know if you're smart. You know what I mean? I don't even know. First of all, I don't know who your political mentors are. I don't know who you look up to. I don't know what your touchstones are. I don't know if you know your history in terms of civil rights, women's rights, gay rights struggle in this country? I don't know anything. I call into question all of that. It sounds like you are just an opportunistic mouthpiece who wants clicks time and time again.
Okay, so obviously it's getting deeply personal there. Opportunistic mouthpiece, can't grasp simple concepts, not smart. But guys, and I'm not angry. Look, people have different opinions, and they want to make it personal. It is what it is, right? I'm more sad about it. You know, I'll say something at the end about that. But to me, the attitude that is toxic, and that's what I don't want at TYT. I want to build a community that is really open to conversations. Is they refuse to learn from us. So the idea is, well, obviously I'm right and the only moral center of the universe, and I already told him that, and this guy wouldn't even learn from me.
I did hear she was a comedian.
Arrogant thought that if someone disagrees with you, they need to be re-educated, and maybe they haven't read any books at all. Okay, did she stop there? Of course not.
And yes, as I told Cenk, I do feel very implicated. I have felt implicated by their takes, specifically around crime and policing in years past, definitely by this new heel turn since Trump's reelection, and absolutely by the misrepresentation of the Los Angeles fires and who the responsibility lies on. It is enraging, to say the least.
The Los Angeles fires are not the responsibility of the mayor. They're apparently the responsibility of Republicans. I don't know. I don't know what her thought on that is, and I don't know why she's enraged by that, but that's okay. Apparently, I've taken a heel turn. By the way, all those folks, not just Francesca, but others that told you we're right-wing, you watch the show every single day, you see us criticizing Trump and Elon Musk over and over and over and over again, telling you how they're going to do a $4.5 trillion robbery in those tax cuts. Yesterday, we talked about how they're already, hammering Social Security and costing good Americans, what they need from Social Security, how they're going to cut $800 billion from Medicaid, how there's a series of robberies on the way, et cetera. But it's okay. Let's just simplify things and say anyone who disagrees with us a little bit is a right-winger. But the good news is, at least Francesca will not be implicated anymore. And I never understood that, because she's been saying this for a long time now, that she was implicated by us. Then why keep taking the check? And it's not a big check. And Francesca has had, a career before us. She talks about that. Of course she did. And she'll have a career after us. There's no problem with that. So why, if you think we're collaborators and we've taken a heel turn and we're working with fascists, why did you choose to get implicated with us all these days? But good news, no longer implicated. Believe it or not, she did not stop there. This is now another show. Watch.
So Cenk's line up until this point has been, no, it's at the collegiate level and above. I think once you get to the college level and above, that's when it's bad. So he would be on board with what the NCAA said recently. But you're so dumb. You're so dumb. I don't even know how to explain it to you anymore. Unless, this is the other option, unless you also are a transphobe. You know what I'm saying? Unless you also are kind of a misogynist.
Because if you disagree with...
So she posted, as it happened with Emma Vigeland, Sam Cedar, Benjamin Dixon, Mandela Robinson, Dan from the Web, or part-time, full-time editor Hank Thompson, or allies like David Dole and Humanist Report, and too many others to name. So it goes with me. Now please enjoy this TYTT. And then she responded to that, if only you'd stop claiming to represent the entire left, this whole thing could have been avoided.
With Francesca or anyone,
which he does when he goes on stage with like fucking these right-wing people, he's like, I am the left, guys, I am, and we can agree on this and we can agree on that, and we don't mind this and we don't mind that.
On that part of the
he fired her live on air. I think she found out during the show, like when this show aired.
Spectrum. Well, you must be a misogynist. You must be collaborating with the fascists, and obviously you must be unintelligent. Now, if I had called her dumb, I wonder what her reaction would have been. My guess is nuclear. But I didn't call her that because we have a disagreement. We have a political disagreement. You don't need to make it personal. Not done yet. One last one.
What has it got you? What did it get you? When you go and share a stage with Dr. Phil, what did it...
Fuck Jordan Peterson and Tommy Robinson. I'm good.
Get you.
I don't know why you're tagging me in posts.
Because you look like a bitch. You know what I'm saying? You look like a bitch. That's what it is. Like, that's just what it comes down to. You don't look like a fighter. You don't look smart. You look like a bitch. That's just the reality. I've tried to tell it to you nicely. I've tried to tell it to you cordially. I've tried to tell it to you on your show, on my show, on every show. And so either you A, are a bitch, or B, you actually go.
It says Doge/Musk, USID, foreign aid, Trump, culture wars with Cenk Uygur.
Agree with the right. And I'm starting to think, in fact, I do think it's the latter.
Okay. So again, if I'd called her that would have been a different situation, right? But look, guys, also on the policy or the strategy, when you go talk to the right wingers, first we did that, and I mainly did that, and there was a lot of blowback saying, don't ever talk to the right wing. But they won the popular vote. How are we going to win back the voters if we never talk to them? If we don't win them back, we can't ever win an election. And that doesn't mean the far end of MAGA. It means independents that voted for Trump, and maybe some right wing populists that voted for Trump. Now I've noticed that faction is now saying, well, I mean, of course we should talk to the right, but we should only yell at them, or we should only accost them. That seems like a really productive conversation. And if now I guarantee you they'll say, no, I don't mean just yell at them, but just like build coalitions, as Francesca said recently. Apparently she's changed her mind about being a collaborator. But not with Trump voters. Well, who would it be if it wasn't Trump voters? Those folks on the edge of the middle of the spectrum that we got to bring to our side. We've got to convince them the populist left is right, not necessarily populist right, or parts where we agree. Hey, great, let's work together on that. So who are we building coalitions with if it isn't the other side or people who voted in the other direction? And if we talk to them, what are we doing? Only screaming fascists in their face, or are we having a human conversation? So look, this is not an attitude that I agree with. Again, there are other shows that love what she's saying, and no problem. To each his own. It's a free country. Go and love that and yell and scream and do all the things that you want to do. But do you think that after you do a joint appearance with Dr. Phil or anyone else, that the very next day all of MAGA is going to show up and go, oh, I changed my mind? You're absolutely right. No, there's a gradual process where Americans begin to talk to one another and start to learn about each other and start, oh, that's what you mean. Oh, that's how you perceived it. And we begin to have human conversations until we understand each other. Again, if you don't want to understand them and you don't want to do that, plenty of other shows. So she said, I tried to tell him nicely. Did you? Did you? Because I might have missed that part. All right, guys, you get it by now. Look, there's two other times that I enforce this rule. One was when Sam Cedar was doing it to Jimmy Dorn. They were both in the network. Sam's show was not only in the network as part of our YouTube partner group, and that's what we were doing early on. And I was happy and thrilled with all the folks that were in it before. And then we stopped doing that since then. So God bless, no problem with that. And in terms of Sam and others leaving at that point, at different points from that network we were trying to set up. But while they were in the network, I said, Sam, you can
I got her response video. Hold on.
Well, you want? In fact, I agree with you on that on the policy you're criticizing him on. But stop doing personal insults. You're doing like personal insult after personal insult. So I talked to him about that. He wouldn't agree. He loved the personal insults. He wanted to keep going. And apparently that's a thing that he does like, and that's what he likes to do every time apparently. And so okay, that's Sam. But we did enforce it before. And then ironically, the second time we enforced it was against Jimmy Dore when he was doing it to Francesca, and he called her an effing liar, and he called her and he said that she was a paid shill, which is a classic go-to move for Jimmy. Although he misspelled it paid chill, which sounds pretty nice. And I said, Jimmy, you can't do that. Ironically, he's the only one who actually apologized and said, I won't do it again. And he apologized to Francesca. Francesca apparently thought, great, I'm allowed to do this, but no one's allowed to do it to me. Anyway, you guys get it. So I don't, like I said, I want everybody rolling in the same direction because we're trying to build something here. And why do we want to build something? Because we want our movement to be strong. We want our message to get out there. We want to win over those voters because at the bottom line in all of this is eyes on the prize. You've heard me say that year after year after year. What's the prize? The prize, by the way, note to other online hosts, is not more subscribers. The prize is passing bills because those are the only things that affect our voters, our audiences, their actual lives. Let's pass paid family leave. Let's pass Medicare for all, higher wages, etc. And I hope wherever you are on the left-wing spectrum or the middle or wherever you are, I hope that you agree. And I hope that we all work together in trying to pass those bills. So please, eyes on the prize. And so look, I'm going to show you two charts here for a reason. There's a Media Matters did this chart recently. Some of you might have seen it on air. And it has the right-wing shows online in red, and it has the left-wing shows online in blue, okay? What we did there, and I hope you can see it, is we put a little bit of a green circle around the TYT show. So the Young Turks is right next to Rogan, got 12 million subscribers, one of the largest ones in the whole chart. But Rebel Headquarters is also on there, Damage Report is on there, Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie's on there. And when you put them together, that's 18.8 million, and it is one of the largest presence in online media, period. If you include our alumni, people that have been in part of the TYT network in one way or another throughout the years, then we're at 30.1 million subscribers with the way that Media Matters does it. Today, actually, when you include all the platforms that we're on, some of which Media Matters did not count, we have 27 million subscribers. Now, why do I tell you that? Because, guys, we're trying to build something. Fox News has dominated discourse in this country for at least 20 years, almost 30 now. And it made an enormous difference, and I think for the worse, for the much, much worse. We're trying to build a network that makes a difference for the better. But by the way, you don't have to agree with us, and you don't have to say, oh, well, okay, then great, and we should help you and support you. No, you don't have to do that. Build something of your own. Instead of being destructive over and over and over again, how about you be constructive? And you say, hey, Jake, I don't like the way you guys are doing the TYT network. And I see that you've had this huge success, and you've given rise to other progressives that are now having success. And it seems like you helped to build something for our side. Well, you know what, though? These days I don't agree with you. So I'm going to build something larger. Guess what? I would love that. And whether you build something larger or not, you build, let's say you, instead of building a media company or a media show, you build a platform that actually got Democrats.
I don't think any of that's true. I think he likes being able to say, like, we're the biggest, we're the best, we're this, we're that.
But progressive populist Democrats like Bernie Sanders, Ro Khanna, et cetera. And then they got those bills passed. Oh my God, I would love you for it. Please do that. Build something positive. And that's what we're trying to do here, okay? So I don't say this just for Francesca, and the reason I'm doing this segment isn't just for her or to explain what's going on, but I do want to be clear with you. It's mainly to tell you what we stand for. Not just the media end of it, not just the host, but as a community. We all have to be open-minded and open-hearted enough to get these things done and push forward. So, look, last thing is, I wish Francesca well. I mean, she said those things, and I get it. We've got bad feelings these days, but all the power to her, okay? If she can convince the country to be on her side on all these issues, even the ones we disagree on, terrific. Try that. Try to make that happen. And no problem. Happy to have it. Like she said, good career before. I'm sure she will afterwards. You can go check her out wherever she is. So I don't have hard feelings. I'm not angry. I'm just done with it. I want a positive atmosphere here where we fight for you guys. And we do that in all different ways. So if some hosts have a different idea on how to do it, great. Let's have that conversation. We've had that conversation, those debates, those discussions, so we can get to the right answer and so we can help you guys decide what you believe instead of what we believe. So for folks who don't want to be part of that, bless your hearts. Go get them, Tiger, okay? But for folks who think, yeah, that's a great idea, and I'd love to pass the things that are in your populist plan, 6 incredibly popular policies, higher wages, anti-war, et cetera. Get money out of politics. So if we can do that together, whether we disagree on some issues or not, wonderful. But whatever you do, please roll forward. Please be mindful of others that are, in this community, care for each other, love each other, and let's try to be positive together. And let's go. We always do at TYT. Love you guys. We'll be right back. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally.
That all of their exes were You know when you meet someone and they swear that all of their exes were psychos, and then you slowly realize that, oh wait, I'm talking to the person who was the problem in the relationship. Related to the Young Turks. And I'm gonna make this as brief as possible because there are a million far more important and pressing things going on right now. As you know, actual fascism. But to make it brief, Cenk Uygur, the head of TYT, recently hath forboten me from appearing on any TYT shows because, in part, I said that him capitulating to right-wing framing on many issues meant he was, quote, acting like a bitch. And the truth is, he was, and I'll explain that a little bit later. But first, some backstory. So I have been a contractor at TYT for 10 years now, appearing on all of the shows as a fill-in host, as a guest host during election coverage, on the TYT main show, on the Damage Report, and on Indisputable, along with a lot of other shows. I have always hopped on at the last minute, always helped out in a pinch. I guest host last minute, and yes, I was paid. And if you're watching this and you are a TYT contributor and you are not getting paid, stop going on TYT until you do. I've never been a full-time employee, never got healthcare, never got maternity leave when I had my child. But back in 2018, I was hired for a 6-month contract to pilot a show for $3,000 a month. Then, however, their funding bottomed out and I was let go. And they broke their contract. My reps at the time thought I should sue to get the full 6 months of payment and work that I was owed, but I didn't because I told them that TYT was good people and I wanted to maintain my relationship. And I did. That is until things started to turn for TYT politically. And this started happening around the pandemic. Around the pandemic, Anna Kasparian seemed to become focused on the issue of homelessness, especially in a city that I used to call home, which is San Francisco. She had an objectively scary experience with an unhoused person, and in fact, I went back to see when she told her audience about this. And I do remember the day that Anna told the story on air. In fact, I was also on after she told that story, but I didn't hear it at the time. It was within an interview that she was doing with an author by the name of Michael Schellenberger, who had written the book San Francisco, Why Progressives Are Ruining Cities. Instead of focusing on housing market prices, on how homelessness often leads to things like addiction and mental illness, Schellenberger focuses on Democrats who thinks go too easy on the unhoused. I remember that I jumped onto the show right after he got off, after that interview, and the TYT audience was really pissed because they felt like the framing and the platforming of someone like Schellenberger was a disservice to the issue of homelessness, mental illness, and addiction. Anne apparently took that as the chat downplaying what happened to her rather than how the issues were presented. She's since gone on right-wing shows like Glenn Beck, Piers Morgan, and Jillian Michaels, among others, to retell this story and use it as rationale for why she feels the left left her, that maybe she's never been left, why she's politically homeless, or, politically unhoused. Since then, she's gone on to cover critical stories from a right-wing framing, like the alleged takeovers of buildings by Venezuelan gangs in Aurora, Colorado, like the mentally ill, undocumented man in Los Angeles, who was found lighting fires, but who was not responsible for the wildfires themselves in January. Throwing progressive mayors like Brandon Johnson of Chicago under the bus because he listens to teachers too much. Anna's actually really skilled at what she does, so the laziness with which she treats these stories really just stands out all the more. Let me give you some backstory, though, of Anna and my friendship. We've never been close, despite a hike, a dinner, and the time that she generously gave me a gift for my new baby, and then explained to me.
I got to set this up. So I think, obviously, treating all homeless people like they're fucking crazed, lunatic, drug addict, blah, 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 blaming them for a lot of times the situation that they're in through little to no fault of their own is wild, right? But I also don't like the framing where, like, a homeless person violently attacks somebody and they're like, oh, well, you must have sat too close to them, or you must have looked at them weird, or you must have, like, there's clearly homeless people that need some type of major treatment in their life, and then there's other homeless people that are like, well, you know, they're in a bad spot at a bad time and got fucked over by the system.
Me that she was going to debate Ben Shapiro because, in her words, she, quote, felt she could win over his audience. Two moments with Anna stand out for me in terms of how I've always treated her. In 2016, I was working with AJ Plus, and we were at the RNC. I had just started going on TYT a little bit and meeting everyone. And TYT was there, and Anna was there, and she was frustrated because she hadn't been booked on many appearances on camera, and instead, a panel of men mostly clogged up the day. I stood next to her and told her how annoying that was, and just tried to build her up in solidarity. Then in 2019, we went out to lunch in Los Angeles at an awesome spot that she knew of. And Anna confided to me that she was frustrated about leadership at TYT, how she wasn't involved in day-to-day decision-making, and how Cenk viewed her more as a kid sister rather than a co-equal partner. And at the time, she wanted to branch out on her own and do videos on a new channel. I implored her at that moment to stay. I said that it's always women that tend to walk away from organizations, even when they've helped build them up to the point that they're at. I told her to fight for more of a decision-making role and to not walk away. And she did. And it looks like the editorial decisions that we see being made at TYT are in part because she now has the reins. In a way, I'm proud of her, even if I don't like the coverage. In November of last year, in an effort to understand where Anna was coming from and why she was doing what she was doing, I invited her to come on my show, The Habituation Room. She agreed, but also told me that she had a family emergency that sounded bad, and I told her to not worry and that we would find a time in the new year. That week, she went on Glenn Beck's show. And it kind of puzzled me, to be honest. She obviously now is likely not going to come on my show, in part because Cenk did. And I wanted to talk to him about his own very cordial conversations with the right since the election or re-election of Donald Trump, in which he tells various figures, from Charlie Kirk to Patrick Bet-David to Tim Pool to RFK Jr. lover, again, Jillian Michaels, about how he agrees that the left is often cruel and too extreme, saying that at a time where people are literally being disappeared for their political beliefs by this right-wing agenda. Anyone can watch the discussion. I put it in the link below, and it's honestly just a really disturbing portrait of his very with me or against me mentality. I even foreshadowed in the video the idea that he would boot me from TYT one day. And he did. It was also staggering how much he was shadowboxing with me as some kind of stand-in for the max left that has lost their minds. In that video, he laughed at me for suggesting that Trump would create detention camps. After the discussion in December, TYT main show never asked me back on. And then when I made a harmless little video pointing out that yes, there are detention camps, that seemed to be one of the final straws. Personally,
those El Salvadorian detention camps.
Cenk and I were never close. In 2022, I think we went out to lunch and he asked me if I wanted to work with TYT full time. And it gave me pause. Look, I work with a number of outlets. I am a stand-up comedian. I value my free time and I have my own show. I wanted time to do those things, but also I pay through the nose for things like healthcare, and a little bit of job stability would be amazing. I also know how hard the company works people who work there, and I know how it treated the union drive. I also know how much they deny full-time employees bonuses every year, even when they're delivering millions of views. I know that they're kind of cheap, and Cenk usually doesn't like it when people negotiate with him. So I said, sure, I want to work for TYT full-time, but it depends on the offer, which, by the way, you should always ask for an offer before you pledge loyalty to anyone or any company. An offer never came, because in my view, loyalty wasn't a given. All this to say, I'm not sad to leave TYT behind, especially now, with, of course, the exception of The Damage Report with John Iadarola, who I care about and I think is so talented. But we live in a time of right-wing monsters, authoritarians, and yes, fascists. And anyone capitulating to their framework about human rights, about policing, around militarism, is not serious about liberation or democracy. Please, never watch anyone who can't admit when they're wrong. Never watch anyone who tells you that their strategy is right and that they are the way, the truth, the light. Never listen to anyone who doesn't have a sense of humor when they are acting like a bitch. I am one person with a scrappy YouTube channel who pieces together my annual living. I have a fraction of the following of TYT, which is $1 million media company. The idea that they choose to
She's only 160,000 subscribers.
Focus on me or other leftist creators in their field is honestly really disheartening and very revealing. Look, I wish the best for the people of TYT.
I think he seems too desperate for clicks for me.
But as for the main hosts, I kind of just wish them peace, because it's been a long, long road with many skeletons in many closets. And honestly, I don't think they know where that road is going. And it's going to be really sad when they respond to this video or try to smear me as if there weren't so many other pressing things to talk about. But I just had to get it off my chest, explain to you what's... I
feel like a lot of big YouTubers, if they come and offer you, like, how would you like to be on, you know, such and such, or on my network, or do that, or me, they do want that blind loyal. Oh, yeah, whatever I got to do, I'll make it happen, yeah. They don't want to hear, well, what does it pay?
What's going on, and tell you that I am the host of the Bitchuation Room podcast, and also America Unhinged on Zateo, and you can also catch me doing live comedy, hopefully in a city near you. Until then, later.
Damn. All right, guys. I'm out. Thank y'all for joining us tonight. Thank you for being here. Hopefully my son doesn't kill me in my sleep, and I'll be back for another round. Who knows? Thank y'all for being here. Have a good night. Support the show at coldbeer.fund if you want to. Don't. I'm taking the night early. I'm going to go get some rest. I got a fucking headache. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a good one, guys.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the forking balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the forking balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6th sense for the stupid shit.
Where my true believer?
Y'all need Jesus.
Praise the Lord, head to the extreme.
All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like fool in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, eating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers. Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped them to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine, with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it." Whoa, wait. Stop. What? I'll get my files. Wait, what are you doing? Stop. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. This is Mom's an alcoholic. Give me a... Oh, my God. Damn it. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. Round 3. Down goes Nino. Please say it isn't so. Got him backed up on the ropes, trying to ram it down his throat. Now things are getting rocking. He was doing so well. It's all over. Hands